What a do, skibbity boo, it's your boy Shawnee B Gaming, and today we're going to be reacting to the Season 8 Conquest show match. They've had to restart it like 3 or 4 times, hopefully they will not restart it again. I do feel like I somewhat need to explain why I look like this. At the beginning of the month, I had a stream where the highest donation would be able to decide what I shaved my beard down to, and they chose mutton chops. So I'm looking like this for the month of January.
Good to start talking Season 8 and start bringing in my special guest for this Season 8 show match. I've got none other than the Burn Master himself. That's not so much Smite related, but it's Ajax, lead designer of Smite. AJ, I've been so excited.
Okay, so AJ's working from home. Cool little poster in the background.
To be one of the ones to show it off. This Season 8 map, man, we got a chance to play test it a lot in the lead up to Worlds and all that kind of stuff. I can say definitively that I have never been so confused, in a good way, on what I'm supposed to do on the map as I was the first few times I played Season 8.
They kind of showcased it earlier. It's a larger map with more
definitely.
camps.
This map is
so it will be interesting.
For a really long time. We're really excited to show it.
And
I'm so excited to show it in the way that we're doing
making
it today.
a guide for every god on the new Conquest map.
Pro play match. Showing you actual
Deathwalker, Pom-Pom, Chaos, Tricks, Tanks.
Before we go into all the patch notes and talk the details, we're just going right into it. And I think that's
Yankee, Hazer.
Agro's going to be bringing you the play-by-play.
Oh, I threw it in there so I can't read it.
I'm going to be dropping
Skeleton and Dimmy.
What we've been doing on the map, artistically,
MLCSTE,
and through balancing gameplay, and it's just going to be a super
MLC Stealth. There we go.
What better way
Your boy's
to
literate.
High-level gameplay, especially featuring names like Reels coming back to play some Smite. I saw that Stealth was excited, and I'm pumped for
Look
this.
Look at that
man.
map
Met
up
Yankee
there.
Coming back. Of course, Met goes to the signature Chiron, man. No one's playing Chiron in Season 7.
So there's two Harpy
camps
between the Speed and Blue, which is different.
Here, AJ, because both Skeely and Pon have been playing
two kind of near where the mid Harpies were, the small Harpies.
These gods are going to
and there's
start,
also a
camp
in each lane.
A lot more jungle camps
2 in duel, 1 in solo.
Correct. So
that's
this
interesting.
Map is wider and longer, so it's larger in both directions.
Wider and longer, boys.
A lot of room for more interesting geometry. We've added a lot more choke points,
it's a cool
as well
Erlang
as some
skin.
more intentional open.
I feel like that's gotta be a new skin, right?
And some new XP camps, new objectives.
Let's see how these pros start the game.
This map. It looks like what we've got is our junglers starting at the speed buff with the mages, which is your pretty standard Season 7 start. That's often the way people approach a new map. Is they're gonna use the meta that they're used to until they really start experimenting. These players are gonna experiment a bit, but they also want to win, right?
Oh, of course. These guys are competitive to the bone, and we'll talk about the starts in a little bit.
I feel like maybe Solo should start on one of the Harpies
to go over here.
to help the jungler out.
Touch all of them, but you've seen the spoilers.
Oh yeah, some new items there.
Particularly through Pon-Pon's fantastic meme usage. Bluestone Pendant, Vampiric Shroud, Death's Toll, all items that we're going to see in some form.
Death's Toll is back, same with Bluestone Pendant.
And give us a quick rundown?
I think they were in the game Season 6, but they were definitely in Season 5.
Items are going to be familiar names that you've heard in the past, but some of them are going to be brand new, which is, I think, really interesting. And it looks like we have a few players.
So it's Harpies and Oracles
attracted to a new
on the mid-duel side.
Eye of the Jungle, which is an attack speed starter item that actually allows you to get free wards as you clear jungle camps. So we actually see Bastet as well as Cupid picking up Eye of the Jungle on the Chaos side.
Free wards, that's pretty cool.
So we're seeing this flex into even non-jungle roles. We also see the Bluestone Pendant on Chiron in the duo lane, which is cool for an ability-based hunter.
And Reels looking for the first kill of Season 8. Hazer in trouble, but it's Met Yankee turning it around and putting Reels down. Welcome back to the Smite Battleground, Reels, and look at this. Chaos takes down Skeely in the mid lane. That's a rivalry that I'm sure has developed in the playtest. Stealth gonna be able to answer back though.
The walls are so tall.
Old school mid lane matchup.
It's gonna take a while to get used to. You can't look over them anymore.
Is kind of clowning on Chaos right now. I don't think it's gonna be. No, Chaos! You gotta hit the card. Okay, Exorcism gets the job done. Fireworks early on here in this one, and there we get a quick look at Eye of the
So
Jungle.
that Scorpion is a new addition. That's a camp in the middle.
As you mentioned, HP 5 attack speed, helping you deal with those jungle monsters, but
is it Bastet solo?
Giving you those wards that end
I think it is.
Seems pretty good against those invades, but I want to talk about what Hazer and Met Yankee are going for right now. One of these lane Scorpions.
So other than the starter items, it looks like builds are pretty normal.
Hazer in some trouble.
Like normal items, not crazy new items quite yet.
What's the deal with these things?
So what we see over here is on the duo lane, there are 2 different spawn camps in the lane. There is actually a new type of jungle objective that can be directly contested at the same time you're fighting over minions and fighting a defender tower.
That's good. That's a cool addition. I don't know if it's a good addition.
That's where we got the inspiration for their monster design. They are a minor objective worth some XP and gold, and they have a few unique features about them. Specifically, when you kill them, you will actually get a small healing aura, so you'll get some additional sustain even if you don't have any sort of jungle-related kill item. And there's 2 that spawn in the duo lane side, one a little bit favored to each side. However, there is also one in the solo lane that is placed directly in the middle between the 2 opposing lanes.
So does this
and I would note that mid lane
of...
actually does not have one.
Okay, all right, so not in
mid lane. Often has lots of farm already, right? So we were trying to spread more farm to the outsides of the map. This is a kind of calls back to the idea of a side jungle, but without all of the pathing that's required. So we have the resources, though.
I wonder what gives you more, a Harpy camp or a Scorpion?
Coming back in Season 8.
Couple quick, we'll rapid fire some questions about these Scorpions, because I know my competitive-minded people in the chat are going to be asking. You mentioned a healing aura. Is that only in the circle where the Scorpion spawned, or does it stick onto you kind of like when you walk through a tower after a Totem of Coup?
Good question, Aggro.
It is in the area, yeah. It's a relatively short duration, though. You essentially need to kind of be there as it's killed to be in the area to get the kill.
And so you got one in the solo lane, but it looks like it has not taken the place of Totem of Coup. Is it harder to take than Coup? Is it easier? How does it kind of scale throughout the game?
So the Scorpions are kind of a medium monster. I'd say they're not quite even as hard as maybe the Alpha Harpy, right? There's something a little bit lower than that. The Totem
just trying to listen to the value right now
in the amount of damage it can take, because it scales very differently than the rest of the things on the map. Jungle camps and minions, they scale in multiple factors, where the Totem, I believe, is just its pure health pool. So Totem is remaining in the solo, so you now have Totem and the Scorpion to contest. A notable exception is that the Jungle Shrine has been removed. One of the only things in the map that has been removed. Most everything else has been added.
And I can say...
So Jungle Shrine didn't have a very long life.
Map, thank God, because I wouldn't have had time. I felt so busy constantly in the jungle because if Pon cooperates...
Let's try to track Nemesis rotations.
But near these speed buffs, there's now an additional
XP
Harpy camp, so you've got plenty to do as a jungler. Is Dimmy trying to all-in Deathwalker over here on this right-hand
So that's
side.
going for gank. So now if you rotate from mid, if you're a mid laner, to solo or duel, it's going to cost you more, because the paths take longer to go.
I want to take a look at one of these other starter items, because I don't even recognize them with their new icons. MLC Stealth over something on this Kukan as Trix Tank in trouble, but Fields of Love going to try and heal him away. A couple ultimates exchanged. That's all there is to that.
If the lanes are longer, maybe the minions will take longer to get there, so you don't lose as much if you rotate from mid to dual lane.
So this calls back to the idea of the Soul Gem, which was an item we had before, which is your more damage-oriented mage item, specifically on mages that have one heavy damaging ability that want to make sure they really get a lot of damage on their main damage source. So gods like Kukulkan and Scylla can use this very well, or even Janus. It's in contrast to something like Sands of Time, which is making its return, which is a high cooldown and a sustain, a little bit more like Mage's Blessing. So they're kind of the 2 different directions you could go with mages, or even the 3 different directions, because as you see now, the Zhang Kui has the Vampiric Shroud, which is the hybrid tankiness lifesteal mage starter. And I think Zhang Kui is just going to be a very strong pick in either mid or solo in Season 8 because of this changed items.
Doesn't surprise me with Chaos showing off on that Zhang Kui pick that he's going to look strong, as Skeely and Pon going at it. Both end up surviving, but Dimmy not quite as lucky as Skeely.
Fire Giant and Gold Fury have the same icons, so that's a little confusing. I'm assuming that Fire Giant is still on the solo lane side.
Something else that has spawned over here.
Yeah, the Greater Scorpion.
Greater Scorpion on Skeely's screen.
What is that?
A little bit different than those Scorpions that are spawning in lane?
Correct. So we have the Scorpions, the lesser Scorpions. We also have the Greater Scorpions. They're definitely harder to take. They're larger. They actually have quite a bit of model and color changes to them. Oh, we have quite a fight breaking out here. I'll come back to them if you want to take a look.
No, it looks like Hazer was able to make a nice play. Oh, I don't know. Met Yankee maybe wanting a little bit more. Aegis from Chaos might dissuade this from continuing, but Skilladon here, good abducts coming in from Hazer, and Met Yankee finds kill
I almost don't care about the gameplay. I just want to know what everything does around the map.
But continue what you were saying about the Greater Scorpion.
So Greater Scorpions are going to take, probably 2 to 3 people to clear, or you'll have to wait a little bit later in the game until your Assassin or Hunter with some heavy damage and lifesteal can solo them. They're going to spawn inside of the Gold Fury and Fire Giant.
Okay, that's pretty cool. Inside of both.
Gold Fury and Fire Giant actually won't spawn until someone kills the Greater Scorpions.
Dimmy with
After you start killing Greater Scorpions,
so when they get 1 kill on the Pon Pon, sorry to cut you off there, AJ. I gotta call out Dimmy on the rotations because I feel like I missed out on that part of my career. Dimmy near the back end whenever I started casting. Double kill for him coming out of solo as Reels gonna try and take it to Met Yankee. No heart bomb up in Met. Did look at the explosion, but he's still a cool guy. I'm not gonna count it against him. Couple kills going the order side. Sorry to cut you off there, AJ. Please continue.
Of course not. I want us to make sure we follow both types of action, and I am a little starstruck even myself here, getting to talk about the action going on here with names like Trix Tank and Deathwalker and Met Yankee.
So you destroy the Scorpion, and then it's 3 hits.
So these Greater Scorpions, once you start killing them, they actually change their spawn location to be deeper into the enemy jungle or allied jungle, depending on who captures them, which is a kind of a first for Smite. We've never had monsters relocate in the jungle.
Where do they relocate?
Killing the Greater Scorpions has one
to?
Special bonus feature reward to them as well, which is unique to Conquest now, where when you kill a Greater Scorpion, it will empower the jungle camps on that quadrant of the map. So notice I said quadrants, but into 4 different areas. So if you kill, if you're on the Order team and you kill the Gold Fury Greater Scorpion, your purple and red buff will become enhanced, and the next time you capture your purple or red buff, you will get a more powerful buff on your god that is equipped with that buff.
That's
very
sick.
Cool. So you can end up getting some really, really strong buffs. If I recall, things like blue buff giving an extra 10% CDR instead of just 10, you get 20%. At least that's what it was when I played. Is that still similar?
Cooldown reduction.
I'll ask you in a minute.
I'll need to check my notes, to be honest. There's so many numbers to remember on all of this. This will be listed out in the patch notes. Okay, here, I do have it here if we want to go through it, but we got some good action going on here.
Yeah, good dive
Pon trying to survive under tower.
Oh, great Scarab's Blessing coming from Hazer, showing that he belongs here regardless of all my jabs at him in the lead up to this show. Good play there from the Kepri, who's up a level right now, and maybe in part because of this Watcher's Gift. I know our support players in the chat, Hindu Man somewhere,
forget what Watcher's Gift does, or what it used to do. I guess they probably changed it.
Exactly the same as it was back in the day.
There's a lot of similarities, but
getting an assist for enemy minion in your jungle monster dying will provide 7 bonus gold and restore 12 health and 8 mana. If you're near,
there are some very interesting starters for the supports that I'm honestly surprised we didn't see picked up today, given the pros' general love for economic advantages. We have another support starter called Benevolence that actually, you're going to be sacrificing some sustain and protections and damage in the early game, but it actually allows the support player to take a little bit less XP when sharing and increase the amount of XP that their allies get, allowing you to get a long-term XP advantage, which we found can be very powerful if you can survive the early game pressure that you lose.
Probably not balanced, if I had to guess.
The support items were really a lot of fun to experiment with, especially some of those upgraded versions. So we'll be talking about upgraded versions of starter items a little bit later. Nice alt stealth is a little bit of a brawl happening around the order side.
I don't see any new items outside of the starter items.
Yeah, very
so
deep. And let
I'm
me
looking
tell
out for
you,
those.
I got lost in this jungle an awful lot whenever I got a chance to play. The walls feel much higher. The pathways feel much more narrow. Was that all intentional, trying to make the jungle feel a little bit more intimidating?
Definitely. So just some more major features of the whole map. First thing, it's larger. Strategy is the key. So as you heard me mention with the Scorpions, that their objectives are very strategic. They require you to make plays even after securing the buff. They make you, required to plan ahead. Your rotations are going to matter more. All of the jungle paths have changed. So, when you're first new to a map of this many twists and turns, if you're not someone who tends to watch their mini-map a lot, you definitely might get lost as you're still learning the layout. The order side is still Greek themed.
I feel like jungler is going to be even more important.
It's completely reimagined. The chaos side now takes the form of Tiamat's Babylonian palace. Is now the chaos side. The Chaos side, as you can see, the side difference is not as starkly different between the two sides as they were on the
that tower's
previous
cool.
map. We felt like the Order Chaos push was just a little too heavy. There were certain players and certain gods that people really disliked playing on certain sides of the map, right? Because the colors difference was so stark. So what we have here is a little bit more of a unified color palette across the two sides. But as you rotate into the enemy jungle, you are going to see
I feel like
changes
people are
in the
being picky if
foliage.
they care about that.
Tiamat's side is a lot more wild and jungle feeling, and the plant life is that way, and the rocks and trees, etc. And on Order side, you feel a little bit more white marble landscaped, oak trees, things like that. We definitely have Babylonian architecture throughout the map. There are there's some Babylonian towers that are like tilted against each other on the solo side, and the duo side is a nice Greek temple overlooking a seaside cliff. So there's a lot.
I wonder if they're gonna play this full game out, or if they're gonna jump to the patch notes. Because what if this goes on for 50 minutes?
That's also intended.
Is that what they want?
We have found that a lot of people have
They're
been
already
asking for our map to have just a little bit more
like
sinister
they probably
feel to it,
will.
a little bit more mystery and warlike approach to it. So the whole map is a little darker. We have what we call kind of the sunset lighting, where the sun is kind of as a silhouette behind Tiamat's palace.
Nice.
We have another big fight breaking out in the mid lane.
In the mid lane, Skeely gonna dive in, looking
Set OP.
Pon Pon. Turns out Set pretty good, and Pon Pon on the receiving end of his own design. So somewhere, some people on Reddit are laughing, I'm sure. Good little lead now for the Order side developing. One of the pieces of the map that I really love is the purple. All the buff designs
they're going
every
for
year,
it.
I
They're
think
going for the
really
Greater Scorpion.
The zones that they are in go a little bit underappreciated, just like this Gold Fury pit, as we see the Greater Scorpion
Erlang was chunking it.
zone taken out for the first time. So the Gold Fury doesn't spawn until that first Greater Scorpion is dead. Is that correct?
Then it immediately
like
spawns?
is immediately there and ready to go.
Correct. Yes. They actually took
so
the
you
Scorpion,
could
I would say,
technically
surprisingly late.
Get the Scorpion and then get
compared
the
to
Gold
the internal
Fury
dev meta of
immediately.
which is not really a thing, but we'll see
That's
soon enough
super
how the meta
interesting.
really evolves. Generally, we try to take. We've seen those
Fire
a
Giant
little bit
spawn,
earlier.
but they only killed
So
one
we
Greater
don't want
Scorpion.
a lot of downtime in between.
Does that
those
make
objectives,
sense?
So the Gold Fury does spawn. You can see now on the mini-map there's these white diamonds to acknowledge that those two buffs are enhanced, as well as when you walk by them. We're still iterating through a lot of this. This is, as you can see, Art Not Final in the bottom right. The environment team is still actively working through this week. They've been adding things to the map every day, more detail, more love. So by the time you really see it in live, it's going to even be up a notch from where it is now. But it looks beautiful already. Honestly.
This looks fun. This looks very interesting.
It's just the beginning.
It really is awesome, and you see those extra little particle effects there. So Stealth probably getting an enhanced red buff based on that Greater Scorpion taken earlier. I hear chat is quite concerned about the Allied statue and where that has been relocated in the remodel of the Season 8 Conquest map.
Let me just tell you that the Allied statue is bigger and better and easier to find than ever. It is residing safely within the Order base. It is directly behind the Order fountain. As players would spawn into the game, just do a 180 on the Order side and you will see the Allied statue. And it is in a beautiful Greek city square lined by landscaping, and even with some minion style human characters walking by to pay their respects.
Have no fear, Chad.
So if you guys missed it, they're going to be remodeling Sobek and then kind of redoing his abilities. It's not a rework, I believe. They're just making him look a little bit more pleasant. He has a pretty old model. Same with Humbats. But they're not remodeling or reworking him. Janus is getting a rework. So I think that's interesting because Janus is really good at what he does. He's able to teleport the team across the map. He's able to speed up teammates, get certain teammates through the wall.
So I know I kind of hinted at it a little bit earlier, but we're not going to see them for a little bit. These new starter items have the next level that you can take them to, as Dimmy once again kind of going to work here on this rotation. A little bit behind an XP to Deathwalker.
A little bit of lag right there.
Impact felt. There's another fight deep in the Order side jungle as Dimmy trying to chase Chaos down, and a pin will get the job done for him. Nicely done there by Dimmy, 2 for 2 as Hazer looks likely to fall. These starter items that we've seen, a lot of times, you know, we make a big deal out of starter items because the early game is so important in Smite, and then eventually you sell it and we kind of forget about them. But that's not going to be the case here in Season 8.
Right, so every new starter item has 2 unique upgrades. The upgrades are designed for one of the upgrades to be like a stronger version of the starter item, and the other one is designed to be something very unique as a twist on the starter item. So these, though, are level gated. They are bought through normal gold, but they are level gated. So effectively, they just work like a 5th or 6th item build, like a tier 3 item would, and it just cleans up the flow and the user experience of playing with starter items in many ways, and it's been a really fun thing to play around with in testing so far.
That's interesting.
I've absolutely loved it, and we'll get a preview of that shortly, I hope, as Deathwalker getting close to that level 20 mark. I know that everyone was probably pausing their stream to read Mannequin Scepter, a hot button topic here for old school Smite fans. Once upon a time in the game, one of the most insane items ever created.
By basic attack out taking 20 damage over 2 seconds and have their attack speed reduced by 7 jungle monsters take 2.5 times the amount of damage. This effect can stack up to 4 times, can be upgraded at level 20.
So Mannequin Scepter was almost a meme, a myth, a legend, right? It was an item from super early Smite. You have to be crazy. I've been playing since day 1 PC closed beta, and I barely knew what this item was because it was only on the PTS. It made such an impact on the PTS that it was immediately canceled and removed. Now, the core design goal of Mannequin Scepter, which makes it kind of terrifying, is that it adds bonus damage and a slow to your basic attacks.
So I feel like a slow? Where does it say that?
Yeah, so that's what it used to do.
That's what it used to do.
Little bit. Okay. It also should be noted that we've made starter items very
that would be ridiculous.
So some starters are more expensive than others, so we can make that's just
a good
another
change.
way for us to do balance if Mannequin Scepter is really powerful. But what Mannequin Scepter is going to do now is that basic attacks are going to cause enemies to burn, taking 20 physical damage over 2 seconds and having their attack speed reduced. And it's also going to do bonus that damage to jungle monsters. So Pon Pon has done a great job redesigning to remove the slow, the most frustrating part, and replace that with an attack speed slow, as well as giving it a unique possible jungle application in bonus damage to jungle camps, making this item just essentially a really flexible, aggressive, basic attack item that we could potentially see in all 3 physical roles, really. We could see it in solo jungle or ADC, to be honest.
Interesting. Does it? So you could see it in Hunters. Have you seen that in testing at all? Duo laners picking it up?
So we have tested
Vampiric, damage an enemy with ability resource 6 health and 6 mana, can only trigger once per target per ability.
This item, then we probably need to adjust
5% lifesteal
on Hunters, because they're probably the scariest.
I remember that item. I don't know how much they changed it since I used it last.
But there's certainly some downsides to taking it. The Hunters aren't going to use the bonus damage to jungle camps quite as much. Hunters are going to lose out on a lot, literally all of their sustain.
Ooh, nice taunt.
So we believe it's possible, but it is kind of risky.
Risky for sure.
So Deathwalker can upgrade his relic if he has the money.
And they'll find him. Skilladon's able to grab that one. You can almost see it here where we are on the map. We haven't gotten a chance to talk too much about it.
There it is.
On his way.
He just upgraded it. I hope they hover it. They didn't tell us what the tier 1 does, other than killing jungle camps will give you wards.
A little bit on the mini-map, there's a little bit of an area that you can walk through coming out of your base to get into the jungle. Tell the fans at home about this new base
Ooh, I just noticed that.
So this is our first experiment with dynamic geometry on a Smite map, and what that means is walls literally opening and closing to allow players through the space. Huge cuckoo ult from MLC Stealth. Love to see it.
What?
Well, that's what you're going to see every time the man locks in.
Please elaborate.
That's just kind of how he does it.
So between the Phoenixes and the tier 2 towers, there's now 5 options to get up instead of just the original 3.
Coming from Reels. Okay, finally, I was going to say someone's got to be level 20 by now. Deathwalker is, and he has upgraded his starter item. Remember, he had that Eye of the Jungle earlier on. If we could get Doug to pull away.
Passive while in jungle, you gain 15% power and 15% protections.
So these are
35 protections, physical, 35% attack speed, 65 and 100 magical.
35 physical protection, 35% attack speed, and then the passive while in the jungle, you gain 15% power and 15% protection.
They're going for the fire giant.
This is one that I really liked whenever I was testing it.
They're clearly playing into the Fire Giant Gold Fury fights, right? A lot of our fights in the end game take place in where we are right now, where the players are right now.
That's smart.
We've heavily redesigned the geometry in this
area.
Like,
this whatever, but it helps the Fire Giant and Gold Fury.
But then these really
intense
choke points right after you exit the area. We've also seen the lead change. We saw Order running the entire early game with a small gold lead, and now Chaos has answered back after that last fight and then taken the Fire Giant.
I'm just trying to take all this in. There's a lot of changes.
For top of the player damage. You were saying that John Kui is going to be stronger with something like Vampiric Shroud back in the game, and Chaos certainly showing that off. Quick caveat, though, that poor MLC Stealth coming in. He tweets that he hasn't been playing. It's been a while since he's played a competitive Smite game. Chaos is in these play tests, sweating every day. You know,
Chiron has Blue Stone Pendant
to put him up against Stealth.
That is true. I mean, Skeely has been an absolute force in the playtest as well.
Oh, yes.
So I feel like the teams are pretty balanced. I feel like we've seen a close match so far. I feel like it's highlighted the map well. I feel like in our dev testing, we've had a lot of lead changes. Now, a bigger map, more jungles, more things to take. It can be possible
those walls open. Okay.
There's also more ways to get back in the game.
How do you
some
open?
Of the more dangerous geometry will let
do they
do
only
that.
open
now looking
for
at the base gates here,
whatever side the team is?
Now this is our
That'd
first
be
tested
really cool.
dynamic geometry, which means those are like actual walls. They interact like the jungle walls would. But if you walk across that circle pad, the doors will open for you, and you can exit your base cleanly. This gives you a really quick path from your base to the jungle. Really nice for junglers. It saves you a lot of time and a lot of other trips.
Can Basette jump over the wall and activate it for her team if she's attacking?
Siege mechanics.
Yes.
Because those jungle
awesome.
Doors, they do not care about which player team opens them.
I think that's my favorite thing so far, and I haven't even seen it used. That's such a good idea.
You can stand on that and open the door for the enemy team to flood into the base around a Phoenix. Or if you're trying to defend the base and you step out too far, you can't go back in the door. Someone's got to let you in.
Okay, so turns out Protector of the Jungle looks pretty good because Deathwalker 15% stronger in the jungle, just one shot, 2 people back to back, and that's exactly where he wants to be taking those fights.
A dynamic map, really they say.
Of this Fire Giant that
that's a beautiful change. I'm really liking that. Really impressed by that.
You mentioned people coming in on these sieges through the doors, and that has been so hard to deal with in the games that the casters got a chance to play. I mean, if you can get in something like in
Somebody
this game,
open the door.
hopping over the wall with the belly flop and then just standing on the pad and letting
then
people
you need
through,
to open the door.
Felt very, very hard to deal with.
It looks like the Chaos team's not going to need to do that here. They're just going to take the middle Phoenix. It is a additional way to break into a base. It is intentionally designed like that. We found that throughout the season 5, 6, and 7 map, and even some of the matches
we watched recently, it's
a little too easy to make a stand at your Phoenix. You have one good AoE mage can often keep teams there for a little too long. So we wanted to provide an additional way to let you attack that enemy base. It is risky though. Expending a leap to jump into the enemy base, if people are quick and catch you off guard, they can picking a support
can
first.
Can you blink over the door?
Pro tactic already. That's an easy way to lose out on a fight. We also have some additional balance mechanics around it, and specifically that we're going to be applying the Invader's Curse to people who do open the doors that way. So there is going to be a little bit of a booby trap, as you might say.
Interesting. Okay, I was gonna say because
I don't like
that
it as
felt
much
so
now.
good. I mean, we had people.
The Invader's Curse is the same from the Jungle
Shrine.
Shrine.
Over his chalk and instantly torrent through, or even blink
That's
if you don't
a
even
lot.
have a leap. Just blinking.
It reduces your movement speed, power, and attack speed by like 25 to 50%. Blood-soaked Shrouds, passive, damaging an enemy with an ability that restores 12 health, 6 mana, and provides a stack of 1% lifesteal for 6 seconds. They can stack infinitely and only trigger once per ability.
Physical protection, 200 health, 15% lifesteal, and damaging an enemy with an ability restores 12 health, 6 mana, and provides some lifesteal stack. So this is basically
that last bit there, Aggro, is the most exciting part.
Wait, this can stack indefinitely?
Stack
indefinitely. This allows you to reach the
he said indefinitely.
It's
infinity.
Infinitely.
So you really felt like you couldn't get through with an Anubis buff, but maybe we can sneak in a lifesteal stacks indefinitely sort of item past us, huh, AJ? That's how you were going to do it this year?
This was a pon design entirely, I assure you.
Oh, throw him under the bus. I see it.
The idea with the starter item upgrades is that we did push for some really unique effects. You know, they're gonna all look very strong compared to each other, which we believe is gonna keep the gods and the classes fairly balanced because everyone will have access to the. Oh, here we have an enemy incursion through the base gates.
Yeah, walking
we didn't
right
get a good
into
angle
the base,
of it.
MLC Stealth is like, guys, there was a wall there a second ago.
Though.
Really good ult coming from
damage
Hazer, and that's actually going to matter. Looks like the fountain is much further back this year, AJ, from where it has been.
The
I
map
see
is
that.
just bigger, so everything's are a little further away from yourself. That includes Phoenix to Fountain, yeah, and then towers distance between each other is also going to feel different.
Yeah.
You know, it's already so hard to make those calls to rotate sometimes to kill a jungle or boss, you know, in time before the enemies get there. It's going to be a lot of learning to get that down again on the new map for sure. And it looks like Order here has done a successful defense, is now countering back, pushing back.
Heard it here first, folks. Going through the gate on the offense, bad, because we saw it once and it didn't work that well for the Chaos Squad. Trix Tank now just
aggro got choked.
Order side has the option to go for that Greater Scorpion. You see it spawned right next to Dimmy, a little bit behind him, kind of near this red buff.
I'm really looking forward to playing this. This looks like a lot of fun. At least something new to learn in Smite.
Spawn, but clearing out these waves seems to be the priority for now. I want to see if anyone else upgrades their starter.
Bet you Horus is going to be very, very good on this map.
Very early, before he even started his 6th item. Looks like Chaos waited to complete it as his true 6th item.
It's a regular fire giant, not an enhanced fire giant.
I think it's going to heavily depend on the build in the class. Like, if you're doing something like the Hunter attack speed build, where you kind of want all of your pieces and parts, you might delay your starter item. You might even still sell.
I think Zhang just stole that. Yeah, he did.
The options are pretty interesting and attractive to most builds. It's definitely going to depend on the player and on the build and on what you're dead set on. Honestly.
Okay, so the Greatest Scorpion did rotate up.
We should have known from
it was right next to Cupid.
You can't be doing objectives with Chaos Zhang on the map. He waltzes in and stole that fire giant away from the Order side and let him know walking away
insane.
as well. That's just what Chaos is going to bring to the table. I want to see some of these Watcher's Gift gets upgraded, and while other starter items are level 20 gated, the support starter items are a little bit different, understanding that Guardians don't always get to level 20.
Smart.
Correct. Those can be upgraded at level 17.
Mannequin Hidden Blade.
Okay, so now
as opposed to
75 basic attack damage, 30
there's
physical protections, 5 damage reduction. Damage reduction is huge.
Per class.
If you have not taken or dealt damage in the last 5 seconds and hit an
two
enemy, god, jungle monster, or jungle boss, they immediately take 50% of their current health as damage.
Flex into multiple roles too. So when you really look at your
physical
options,
damage and is slowed by 20% for 5 seconds.
Support
what?
Starter items all can be upgraded.
That sounds insane.
To make sure that supports get the chance to make that decision. We also looks like we're looking at Mannequin's Hidden Blade.
That sounds insane.
Very cool. 75
damage reduction too.
Damage and 30 physical protection, 5 damage reduction. Burst damage if you haven't hit or taken any damage in the last 5 seconds. So you can immediately burst someone off those blinks. I'm sure junglers won't be doing that to me in mid lane at all. I mean that definitely.
So if you damage them, they can't get the effect.
Izzy here with this Bacchus, which has looked pretty good, but Mannequin's Hidden Blade has felt pretty good for those blink initiation junglers.
Definitely, it is, and it's very different than the traditional Mannequins, which is generally like dot damage, which is what you're going to see on the other option if you upgraded Mannequins into Mannequin Mace.
Don't chase
you're
them.
See the dot damage kind of tick up.
Now don't forget, everybody, you will be able to
me.
get a full look at all of these changes, all the items, everything like that at the Season 8 patch notes show. That's
Bluestone
coming up right after this.
Enemies hit by your damaging abilities take an additional 25 plus 7.5% of their current health as physical damage.
All 3 Phoenixes
over
down
2 seconds. Max 2 stacks.
Comes through now for Met Yankee, another completed starter
7.5% of their current health.
Of HP5 and MP5. And enemies hit by your damaging abilities take an additional 25.
Stick this on Hebo, he'll melt you.
So this is just an example of one starter item.
He's like a 3-second cooldown.
Just take it up to 11 from their base form.
Correct, yeah.
Love to see
there's a lot of items. They're hard to go through. There's so much on this map. I can't go through all of it. It looks like we're gonna have a chaos victory here.
Yeah, chaos.
This is nutty, dude. The starter items look crazy.
Here.
Well, you have to. I mean, both Chaos with a K
and the Chaos team wins.
End up being too strong in this one. 9, 4, and 8. The final score line there for Chaos. Deathwalker also popping off over there in that solo lane, but a lot of fun getting a chance to watch it with you, AJ. I know there are a million things that I wanted to bring up that we didn't get a chance to because of everything else we had to talk about, but before the fans get to see the full Season 8 patch notes, is there anything you want to leave some parting wisdom with them?
We're going to end it as soon as AJ says something.
Big thanks to the entire Smite development team, all of the design team, the environment team, the art team, all of our teams. Everybody has been working so hard. You see me up here getting to talk about this stuff, but the credit should not go to...
Well, if you guys enjoyed this video, I'm going to be covering all the Smite stuff coming out in Season 8. I am looking for new formats of videos, so if you have any ideas, make sure you leave a comment down below. If you are just now here on my channel, or this is the first video you've clicked on, I upload a guide or a video for every single god in Conquest, and I get to start all over at Season 8. I'm looking forward to it. Well, if you enjoyed the video, make sure you subscribe for more content. Thank you for stopping by. I hope you have a great day. I'll catch you next time. Bye-bye.